Hey guys, my name's Theobald Hedman and you're watching Southern Ingenuity. Today's video, I'm going to be making an adjustable monopod shooting rest that's trigger actuated. And I'm going to be using an old broken shower curtain rod. Stay tuned.
This is the locking mechanism for the old shower curtain rod. It had a tapered and threaded cone attached to the inner rod. Now, turning the inner rod caused the rubberized bushing to expand and compress against the wall of the outer rod, thus locking the two rods together. I'm going to be using this as the locking mechanism for the shooting rest. But first, I've got to remove these threads so the cone can be pulled in and out of the bushing rather than screwed in and out. To see how I do it, be sure to click the link at the end of this video. I have to reduce the friction between the cone and the bushing in order to facilitate smooth operation. So I'm going to cut a thin piece of aluminum to go between the two. I'll measure the cone's diameter at each end of the bushing and multiply it by pi, or 3.14. That gives me the circumference at those points on the cone. I can then use those values to draw a pattern and cut the aluminum for a proper fit. Making parallel cuts in the aluminum and bending over the end of the bushing will act as a stop to make sure the aluminum stays in place and doesn't walk out as the cone is being actuated. I use a 1/16 inch welding rod to fashion a hook for attaching the bushing to the bottom of the curtain rod. This is to ensure that the cone separates from the bushing when the actuating trigger is pulled. The bushing will then contract and thus unlock, allowing for quick and smooth height adjustments. Cutting this slot provides clearance so the hook can attach to the inner rod without contacting the outer rod. This will be the main body or grip for the shooting rest. I drilled holes and cut away pieces of wood to create spaces for the actuating trigger, connecting rod, tension spring, and to mount the grip itself to the inner rod. This will be the actuating trigger. I drilled out 2 1/4-inch nuts and welded one to each side to act as spacers for keeping it centered inside the grip. The small master link provides a pivoting attachment point for the tension spring. When the actuating trigger is squeezed, the connecting rod will push the cone out of the bushing, allowing the inner rod to move freely inside the outer rod. When it's released, the spring will pull the cone back into the bushing, thus locking the rods together at the desired height. This part will allow for adjustments to the tension spring to make sure enough force is applied to the cone to achieve adequate locking pressure. Notice how the bushing expands and contracts as the cone is drawn in and out. The string will connect the inner and outer rods together while still allowing for quick and smooth adjustments.
I decided to build a shooting rest like this after I missed a coyote at short range while trying to shoot free-handed. Now I know that there's products like this already on the market, but they can be $50 or more depending on what you get. And I like a challenge. I've got less than $10 in parts that I bought specifically for this project. Everything else was left over from some other project or just scrap that I had laying around the shop. I just enjoy the challenge of designing and building something useful and then putting it to use. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, give it a thumbs up, share it with all your friends. Until next time, I'm Theobald Hedman. Thanks for watching Southern Ingenuity.